Welcome to the MF Show, your pit stop for celebrity interviews. I'm Rich Waitas.
And I'm Jerry Zaiden. We're going to talk about hot car topics in the automotive industry and where it takes us.
Today we have a special guest. We've got Shawn Davis from AutotopiaLA. Thank you here, Shawn, for coming to the show.
Yeah, man.
We've got some interesting stuff to talk about. I mean, from car guy stuff to now a business that pretty much is all about exactly what we're doing here, which is talking about the cool stuff in the car industry.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what goes on over at AutotopiaLA.
Yeah, well, it's twofold. There's my storage concierge business, which then gave birth to the channel. So the storage, it's really what it is. It's a vehicle storage business where I take care of everybody's cars. So, all through outside vendors and dropping off, picking up cars. It's not a super exciting business until you have to deliver your clients 812 or F12 or 2RS or what have you, which definitely doesn't suck. And then that gave birth to the YouTube channel, which I'm, truth is I'm completely and totally obsessed with that. That one, I love my storage business, but I'm truly obsessed with the YouTube channel. I mean,
coming from seeing the coolest cars, you're a car guy, right? Totally. It's one thing to build them. It's another thing to see them. But now you get to befriend the people that have some of these unique and rare and really car culture history vehicles that are there. I mean, you've got some stuff that besides the worth, 7 figures, whatever, they're just icons inside of what is car culture. And the fact that you get to curate these cars' existences and know the people that kind of continued the lineage, because every car has a story of who owned it, right?
That's right. They do, man. The stories are, sometimes, in my opinion, sometimes the stories are better than the cars themselves.
Agreed.
I've got a like as an example, I've got a 63 split window vet in my shop. It's an automatic. It's not a fuel-y, so it's not the highly collectible one. But this guy's grandfather bought the car brand new. So it's a one family car. That's one of those, that story doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. It's really rare that happens. And on it goes. From celebrity vehicles in my shop. At one point I had, after Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush, after he passed away, I had all of Neil's cars in my shop. And being a musician my whole life, it kind of flipped me out, the idea, like sitting in his Cobra and firing it up and going, oh, Neil drove this car down the road, man. Or like Paul Walker's stuff. My brother's best friend in the world was Roger Rodas. Yeah. Roger was the one driving the Carrera GT when they died, and Paul was a good friend. And, after the crash, I had all of Paul's cars at the shop. I remember one day I called because before it all transitioned over to his daughter, Meadow, his dad, Paul Sr., was the one, kind of an executor of the estate at the time. And I called him up and I was like, man, Paul was a car guy and I don't think he would dig his cars just sitting here collecting dust. Do you mind if I make sure these things get some miles on them so they don't just start rotting away? And he's like, no, whatever you think's best. And I went like a year and a half where I didn't drive my own car. I drove, it'd be like his E36 lightweight one day, and then his E30, and then his R34, and even his Tundras and stuff like that. And, it's funny as I start talking about it, it's bonkers to me when I think that a failed music career is what gave birth to what I do now. But it's the truth. You know what I mean? Like my whole life was focused on music. I've had record deals and publishing deals, but it really never led to the promised land, know? And it's just wild to me when I sit and start talking about it and remembering how it like tail between the legs, bummed out at the end of a career that you really, I committed my whole life to it, man. And now I do the stuff I do. It's a trip to me, Rich. It truly is. It blows my mind.
Yeah, you definitely see it. That's probably the best part of what I gather from your channel is your passion for the guests that you have. And the people. I'm assuming this translates to, I haven't had a stored car at your facility, but I'm assuming it's that same relationship where it just becomes a special relationship with that vehicle and with that person. And it allows you a certain ability to kind of dive deeper into what motivates people to do the things they do. And I think that I don't know, we've had a few musicians on the show here, and we find that that's actually something we find as a commonality within the car culture. You know, Jimmy Shine talks about his Billy Gibbons relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so funny that, you know, where instruments of, you know, audio sound and then the mechanicals of cars somehow have this harmonic relationship where there's an appreciation for these tools. And I think that's a really cool part of what you've been kind of like experiencing firsthand.
And getting to know these guys, like you just mentioned Jimmy. You know, Jimmy's become a pal. I mean, that guy's he's a legend in this industry. And the idea that he texts me or calls me, I mean, I still geek out on that. But I really do. You know, these guys.
He's a good dude.
He's such a cool guy, and he really is. Like, he's that guy. You know, like, it's funny. He'll bum a cigarette off of me, and he'll go, "Hey," the first time he said it, he's like, "Hey, man, let me catch a dirt." What do you want? Yeah, let me catch a dirt. Give me a smoke. Okay. And then he takes it and rips the filter off immediately and starts smoking. I'm like, wow, he's really that guy. Like, this guy should have been this age in the 50s. You know, he's that dude. But I love that guys like that have become friends now. Hell, Rich, I mean, what you've done in this industry, you know, that you and I have known each other at this point, what, 10, 12 years, something like that.
Moving on 2 decades.
Yeah, man. I mean, it really, I'm grateful that I still geek on it too. You know, like I do, I geek on this stuff.
Well, you keep doing other things too that kind of enlist, I think, interest, which is you're still tied to your passion to building stuff. And I'm going to dive into one of your newer projects now and talk a little bit about that fun. But it's always been my thing to kind of seek out the people that are building unique things, whether it's their motivation to do so, the style that they've proposed. And, you know, I've had the fortunate ability inside the scope of my job to, you know, touch the people like Richard Petty and a Mario Andretti in their legendary status, but then get to like a builder like a Chip and then another builder like a Jimmy.
Yeah.
They get to tell you stories about kind of these elements of this culture that draw people in and hook you. And, you know, one person you do need to get on out there with one of his cars, maybe his T-Bucket, would be Jimmy. And if he can tell you the story, there's these people like Jimmy that have a book that he created that has the business cards from super shops with the carburetor that he bought and the price he paid listed in order and when he put it in. And he documents these builds because they are an extension of him. It's like, this is his life, is this car. And he's building it for himself. And that's the cool part, is you find these people like that. So the ruffian car.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Mustang.
Dude, we were just talking about it at lunch, but I'm such a fan of Chris Ashton and Ruffian. Since that first Mustang he did, and you know, he built that thing. When I say how small his garage is, it was so small that when we finally got him to shoot with us, we went out there and went, yeah, we're gonna have to pull the car outside. There's not enough room for all of us to get in the garage. And it's not like all of us is a big team. There's 4 guys on the team, you know. But to think what Chris did with that one car by himself, other than paint and body, I mean, bought an English wheel and learned how to make flares, you know, learned how to weld. I mean, he told me, I thought it was such a cool approach, given that his whole life has been a digital life, you know, video game designer, building a game studio. When he said, yeah, I wanted to build something that was real, that I could touch, you know, it was, and then to think that from that to the next car, the GT40, then he hires guys, right? He sells his company. So now he's got budget to hire guys. And the Galaxy, that FIA inspired 67 Mustang. I mean, he's such an innovative, creative builder. And now that he's building our Fox body Mustang, I mean, bro, and it has nothing to do with me or my team of guys. Everyone that owns a Fox body, I feel bad for them after this car comes. I swear, though, because everyone's Fox body Mustang, people are going to go, oh, yeah, that's a really cool car. Not as good as the Ruffian AutotopiaLA one. And I mean, I'm overly confident in a sense of it's how much I believe in what Chris and his team do, you know? But it's innovative.
It's a testament to what you have done, which is trust him as a designer and a builder. And it's probably the most interesting part about like getting to meet people like him is he's not like everybody else. He's got this unique approach. And I think it comes from a point you made there is he's a software engineer.
Yep.
You know, he's a guy that looks at things and is like in, I call it beta test mode.
Totally.
He's like, try this out, see what it does, give me some feedback, and I'm going to twist and turn it some more. But he's hands-on. I mean, you mentioned it, like, you know, there's a lot of builders out there that don't necessarily do all the work themselves. And he's not doing all the work, but he won't create a shape or a form unless he knows how to make it on an English wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And his first phone call when we were talking about your car was acoustic design. Like, how can we get this thing to sound right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what do you think about this? If we're going to turn it around here, put these bends in front, how is that header change in shape going to affect its performance? And immediately on that phone call, I just ear to ear grin. And I'm like, okay, this guy appreciates things at a level that's far beyond just getting it done and making it fit.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is going to lend you to an amazing project that I am still so excited. And I'm only touching it with one part.
Oh, yeah.
And that it's going to be a showstopper.
And I so flares as an example, right? A lot of people don't dig flares on cars. You know, 65 Mustang should stay a 65 Mustang. I love, just like Chris does, I love historic Trans Am race cars. I love that era of muscle cars, you know, where you had to get a wider track to get that car to go around turns. And I love how Chris has brought that flavor in. So now applying that to the Fox body, like we were just up there shooting an update on it the other day. And HRE, God bless those guys, man. They came on as a sponsor as well. So we just got our wheels from them. And Chris had gone, you know, deep, obviously had all of his offsets measured. He had all of his measurements exactly how he wanted it. I mean, he had math written all over the side of the car where he wanted me to try to understand his thinking. I was like, bro, you're giving me way too much credit here, man. But now seeing him on the car with just the stock flares that come on a Fox body, and joking with him, I was like, bro, I think you missed on your offset a little bit, you know, because they stick out so far that it's gonna, I mean, I'm giving away secrets of what he's doing, but it doesn't matter because you can't picture this. But to get the fitment that he wants, this car's going out front and rear 3 1/4 inches on each side.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's gonna be 6.5 inches wider than a stock Fox body.
But this is that, you know, the function gives you style.
Yes.
And that's, you know, the whole flared look. Like when I was younger, my neighbor had a 89 BMW M3, and those things came factory with like some flare to the fenders, right? And that's kind of what drew me into the pre-runner truck scene, was just the wide body and the wide suspension. It's like Goliath, right?
Yeah.
It's just race beast. Yeah, it's all race. Like whether it's off-road or on-road. And then you look at, you know, Chris's Stang, the Vicious Stang, and like how wide that thing sits.
Yeah,
and you look at what Ken Block did with some of his stuff. And I love it, right? And then there's the other, you know, the Porsche guys that like use wood screws and put on stuff. And it has a look, but people are drawn to that look.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Where obviously one guy's quality is a lot different than another guy's quality, right? But it's just that function that it gives you when you have wider tires under that car, wider suspension and track width, right? It's just going to work that much better.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love when form follows function. I think it's the way to go, you know, versus the opposite. And I've gotten to this point where, you know, gosh, with the channel we were counting recently, we've shot well over 800 videos now, which is bonkers to me because we average about 100 a year. And so, you know, we've shot everything from the really low dollar garage build on up to, my gosh, we shot with Bob Matranga in his 55. And that 55, I mean, I've heard a varied amount of numbers in it, but it's multiple billions of dollars into that car, you know? And what I find more and more are I'm not as impressed by the art pieces, although I love the artistry of them. You know, you get in a Camaro that looks like an AMG on the inside, and on the outside, it's like a portion of the A-pillars are original to the car and everything else has been changed. I'm cool with that. I love the artistry of that. But if too many of these high dollar cars feel delicate to me. You go to do the drive and the guy goes, okay, don't do a full turn to the left because we'll get a rub. You know, we don't take it over 4,500 RPM, even though the rev limiter's set at 8,200. And you're like, drain the fluids and hang it on the damn wall, dude. It's a piece of art, man. I want something like when we shot with you, dude, you were beating the piss out of your truck.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's for. And that's where
I was thinking the rear end was going to fall out of that thing though, because there's so much
but you didn't, but you didn't go, nah, dude, we can't do a burnout. Nah, we can't this, we can't that. I mean, I like the guys that go, yeah, no big deal. If we break it, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what hot rodding is all about, right?
It is.
It's you find something, you change it. If it doesn't work, you change it another time. And if it doesn't get you from point A to point B, you change it again. You know, it's like,
I just don't love anymore. I mean, I love the artistry of it, but I don't like that a car's delicate. When you think of, I don't know, 69 Chevelle back in the day, that was a car somebody drove to work every day. And then they drove it across the country to visit their family, and they just drove the car. And when something broke, they pulled into a dealership and got it fixed, you know? And now it's so many of these cars, they've gone too far with the fit and finish and all the design elements, and they forgot engineering and mechanical aspects. And
it's different when it's art, like you said, versus actually, a hot rod in my mind, where that just means it's something you put it to pavement. You know, you have fun with it, and then you put it away wet and you figure it out later. You know, it can look amazing. You can have all these great features on it, but if they don't complement that experience, it's just not all that it's cracked up to be.
But I do love when you get both perfect.
I do too.
Like when you get cantilever suspension and full Motec, just like a real race car. And then it has that like perfect billet, nice carbon fiber. Like
I love that.
The mind blowing from every angle. And that stuff gets me really excited. And more exciting is when the guy who owns it actually drives it. Like you see it ripping around, drifting around. And, with that truck that we featured on your show, like I love that truck, but it was missing a lot. Like as cool as it was, like it had a cool chassis and all the cool parts, but it didn't have paddle shifters and it didn't have the Motec, and it like that manual was wrong for that thing. Like it was bitching, but it was too close to gears and not right. Where paddle shifting and other stuff would be way cooler, right? And so I've been eyeing, like, it's funny you said 69 Chevelle. So I've been eyeing like the 70 Chevelle. Like that's what my son just loves, the 70 Chevelle.
It's the best of the Chevelles.
I mean, they're cool.
Just my opinion, but
it's the heavy Chevy, man.
But how do you make that
screams muscle car?
When
I see 70 Chevelle more than any other muscle car, to me, that's the epitome of muscle car. I mean, instantly I pictured, Matthew McConaughey dazed and confused. It's you're cool if you're driving that car, dude.
But how do you make it like a performance machine? Right. Like, I mean, a lot of people, they're fast, but I'm talking like over a G in the skid pad, like brakes unreal.
I get it.
Like,
that's why I like Chris Ashton so much. Is Chris, he loves to autocross. He loves to road course. He likes to drive the hell out of his car. So everything he builds is. Troy Trepagna is another one. Troy said, which I told you earlier at lunch, I kind of geeked out that I got to shoot with him, talking about like, dude, I mean, I've been in front of the camera so much, I rarely get nervous anymore. And that whole day I was like, holy shit, we're shooting with Troy. I'm like, I'm going to be stepping all over myself. But Troy said something that day I thought was so cool, that he comes from a mechanical background, working in his grandpa's shop. And he said, my approach has always been the same thing. It's got to drive, and then let's figure out later how to make it look cool. But that he builds stuff that are drivers. Chris Ashton builds like this Fox body, it is going to be a driver. We're talking about when it's done, we want to do a track day, rent out Willow or wherever, I don't even know, Thermal or Spring Mountain or something, and take out all four of his cars plus our Fox body.
Oh, you got to bring Chris. We got to see Vicious out there, or maybe Devious too.
Well, Devious is a goner. He sold that one, but Vicious, 100%.
I
want to see two generations of Mustang out there at that level.
So can you answer this question? Is it going to be like kind of that GT body or the LX body? Or is it still a secret?
it's going to be a ruffian body.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really is.
But
I mean,
did
it's
it
getting into
start off-
diffusers, splitters,
Okay.
flares.
Did it start off as a GT or an
We
LX?
started with an LX.
LX, okay.
We started with an LX just because that's what we bought it.
Yeah.
We bought this car like 5 years ago. My buddy Frankie, who has a company called P2 Fabrication, Frankie's team originally was going to build it. And then that all fell through. We're good. I mean, Frankie and I are still super tight friends, but his company just couldn't handle it.
Well, I also remember too, I mean, the concept was like blower through the hood kind of stuff, right? You were talking big power. It was mainly drag car kind of esque. And
It was going to be more like, just like what we've seen too many times already, you know, and when the whole thing fell through with Frankie, we were even down to the point of going, maybe we just sell this thing because we're not builders. You know what I mean? Trust me when I tell you, I'm the last guy you want to see turning wrenches, bro. I mean, it's ugly. It's ugly. Like every once in a while, I change a battery at my shop. I'm like, hey, did anybody see that? I'm just not that guy. It's not my brain doesn't work that way. And you know, so we were thinking about selling it. We were actually driving down to shoot the 67 Mustang with Chris Ashton. And on the drive down, Kyle on the team said, dude, why don't we, when we're there, you and Chris Ashton have become really good friends. Why don't you ask him if he would be the one to build the car? And, you know, dude, we don't have the budget. You know what I mean? It's like, people think you make a ton of money from YouTube. Yeah, some guys do. I mean, Supercar Blondie, she's crushing. I'm Supercar Baldy. Like, I am not making that kind of money. You know, so it had to be a sponsored build. Everything on this car has to be sponsored. Yeah. And Chris thought about it, called me a couple of days later. He said, can I have complete design freedom on it? I was like, oh, bro, if you're going to take this on, I want you to build your idea of a perfect Fox body.
Nice.
I need zero input on this because I love what he does.
So he gets
much.
freedom.
100%.
Cool.
He even had questions for me of like, do you have a color combo you like? Originally, you know, that first rendering being black and gold. I said, man, I really love the Hertz cars and Smokey Eunuch. And like there's these cars that I love, that black and gold John Player special, you know.
So good,
And so that's why it was black and gold initially. Then he came back at me. And I even told him, I said, bro, I love what you do so much. Paint it pink if you want to. You'll figure out a way to make it look cool in pink. You know, like that's how much I trust Chris. And now where it's gone, it's going to be so good. I can't wait. He brought spray outs with him when we went to HRE to pick out wheel colors and wheel. We already knew the style we wanted, but it was really down to picking colors.
Yeah.
And Chris had spray outs of the two colors that I didn't know were going to be the new color of the car. And he's like, what do you think? It was another one where he said, yeah, I'm just collecting data. You know, he wanted to get my input on it. And I was like, it's
when's this thing going to be done?
So he said from the inception or from the start point when they actually started digging into the car, he said, give or take about a year, because he doesn't mess around. You know, the pace he operates at. Now he's got the team he does. He just hired 2 more guys. So he said about a year. So I'm guessing, you know, we should see this car probably, I would think by spring.
Okay.
Maybe probably around spring, maybe beginning of next summer. Like, you know, it'll, I mean, it's already like the other day when we walked the underside of the car, the Roadster Shop chassis in there fully married to the unibody, which is wild what they did.
Oh yeah, the spacing and the footwells. I mean, he gave me my second iteration on like header design and the pathway. I'm not even sure he's talked to you about all of that yet.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he gave me a reassignment and said, okay, we're going a different route. He goes, this is not stock. He's like, what do you think? And again, to, you know, Chris's character, it's always like, I got an idea. What do you think? And it's like this little test cycle that you go through.
So Roadster Shop they're making a chassis for the Fox body now.
Not only making a chassis, dude, they designed and engineered this to the point where it's a full bolt-in. Our idea was going to be, well, let's weld it to the unibody, get it a little more rigid. But they actually requested on there, because they're another one that came on as a sponsor with us. I love those guys, by the way. But they came in as a sponsor and they said, no, we want you to bolt it in so we can show this is a true bolt in.
Wow.
No fabrication required. It was cutting a couple brackets, a couple of hammerings here and there. And it really does. It follows all the form of the subframe, the unibody, everything. So it really does fit in there.
Those guys have really changed the whole industry.
They're, you know,
the quality and
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good what they've done. And I tell you this much, shooting as many cars as we do, when it's not on a Roadster Shop chassis, people will usually mention other components. It's a Nelson motor, or it's got HRE wheels, or whatever. They'll mention different components of it. 100% of the time across the board, when it's on a Roadster Shop chassis, it's the first thing they say. Yeah, I built a second gen Camaro and it's on a Roadster Shop chassis.
Yeah.
Then they start saying the other components. That's how much value their brand has in play, you know. And it's not just because they make cool logos and cool t-shirts. They make a great product.
The chassis is the vehicle.
It's a fantastic
that
product.
Geometry, that, you know, so like how critical a quality chassis is the make or break of the whole entire vehicle.
It is.
Right.
It's so game changing to it, you know, and what they've done is it's really fantastic. I mean, for anyone that wants to take a Fox body Mustang and now make it a much more competent car as far as handling abilities. Chris said anybody that's a fairly competent garage builder in a weekend
can do that.
Could have this chassis mounted to the car. The one thing they had to deal with was the frame rails of the unibody, because it's such a flimsy car. They were all bent a bit, so they actually did cut those out, straighten them out, and then put them back in the car.
Yeah, because the car you started,
because they were slightly bent.
Oh.
They had like a bit of a U shape to them.
Drag racing, those things, that was the coolest thing in the world. If you wanted a quick car to lift a tire on, you got a Mustang and you took the sway bar off because the chassis just twisted. It wasn't actually lifting the tire. It's just the chassis was that weak. It's just, if you know what those things went together as, you know, they don't support that front structure very well.
They don't.
No, seeing it, I mean, he was showing me like how flimsy the roof of the car is. It was pretty funny. He was going, look at this. And he was just all over, because he was kind of shocked by it. The floor, they had to cut out, you know, with the Roadster Shop chassis for that car, you know, you don't have to replace the floor. So right there alone, you're saving months of time of fabrication.
And that's like the hardest part, right? Is like you look at cars when they start cutting floors and tunnels and sheet metal. It's like, that is a lot of work.
Now it takes a lot of work, but you know, so it's pretty funny how flimsy.
Oh, he was talking about the oil canning of the roof. He was like, I don't even want to soda blast it. Because the heat's going to destroy it.
That's right. The roof on that, everything else on the car was blasted except for the roof, because he was afraid the roof would just go away. It's just gone.
Yeah, it just goes away.
But it's impressive, you know, but walking the underside of it the other day, I got off on a tangent because of the Roadster Shop chassis. But walking the underside, now the engine, which Jegs got us a Megazilla motor. I was so pissed that we couldn't get Ford to play with us, but they were a little more into being woke than building a hot rod, to be honest with you. And I don't mean to talk smack about Ford, but I'm not stoked about Ford currently, you know, and I grew up a Ford guy. But Jegs came in, got us a Megazilla engine. Mark Bowler,
love the guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Mark Bowler, I had never met him. In a matter of a 10-minute conversation on the phone, he said, well, would you be okay if we send you a carbon T56? Yeah, I'm all right with that, Mark. You know, so he literally sent us. So now we've got the Megazilla mated to the T56. Chris did a carbon drive shaft on it, the Roadster Shop rear end that comes with the car, and then Curry did the third member on it. So it's all tied together now. I mean, it's all going to get blown apart as they start going the rest of the way. But now we got to see how it all is going to
That
tie
drive line
together.
is done.
Yeah. And
Well, speaking of Bowler too, he's just an interesting character. I got to meet him through all of the overhauling stuff that we've done. And
right.
he's one of those guys too. It's like, he's super humble, doesn't talk a lot about like all the stuff he has, but like what he keeps in his back pocket for all of these adaptations, where if you're going to put this motor in this chassis, he's like, oh yeah, I got this transmission will do it. This cross member works with it. Yes, it will work with your application. And he's done all of those fitments. And they've got so many other tools besides physically rebuilding transmissions, which a lot of trans shops get like denoted as. It's like, oh yeah, you just rebuild parts. And it's like, no, they're building custom billet assemblies to make these modern muscle cars work and work right. I mean, down to shifter angle positions and things. It's super good guy to work with.
Yeah. And I didn't think anybody could out nice Kyle Tucker. So I got a weekend in with Kyle Tucker one time, and it was, from Detroit Speed, and Kyle, I just thought was, gosh, just like one of the nicest people I've ever met. Man, Mark Bowler, I think even out nices him. He's like the nicest, sweetest guy, man.
Super soft spoken too.
Yeah. It's wild to me. I tell you, man, the idea, I still feel new to this industry. You know what I mean? Even though I've been in it for.
That's the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Right? So how did you get into cars? Like, did it start as a kid, your dad, your grandfather, an uncle?
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. Like my
BMX bike.
Yeah, I mean, that too. It was really like my dad always had. I started out as a Porsche. I'm still a Porsche guy because my dad had a Speedster, my uncle had a 356 Coupe, and my mom had a 356 Cab. So I grew up in those cars. My uncle used to take me and my brother. He'd put my older brother Joe in the front seat. I'd be just hanging on the hump in the back, and he'd do donuts in this cul-de-sac. And I just got into it, And then my dad, when we were little kids, he still kills himself over this one. He would put me on the front of his motorcycle because I grew up in Topanga, So he'd put me on the front of his bike, my brother Joe on the back, and he'd take us for rides through the canyons. So I just got hooked, man, as a little kid. And then, so I go off and do this whole music career that literally in the end, 45 years old. Try this one on for size, bro. I'm 45 years old. I'm averaging about 200 dates a year. I'm on my second record deal with that band, third publishing deal, going, okay, at some point here, we're going to go to that rock star status, And it doesn't. And I'm 45 years old doing 200 dates that year, netting about $35,000. So 20s and 30s, romantic and poetic and all that bullshit. 45 years old, looking at 50 right down the road, netting 35 grand a year. Really scary moment, So I walk away from it. What happened was kind of a cool, happenstance was my little brother makes a ton of money in the insurance industry. The warehouse that I operate out of, that was my brother's man cave. Him and Roger and Paul and all his buddies would hang out there regularly. My brother owned 10 or 12 cars at the time. And I called him up, tail between my legs, going, bro, do you have any kind of job for me? I don't know what to do. I'm done with music. And the best I got is I could probably go be a bartender somewhere. And that's about it, And he's like, I could use some help with my cars. I'm way too busy. I never drive them. I don't have detailing set up, blah, blah, blah. So I took on really just managing his collection for him, which turned into helping Roger and Paul with their cars and stuff. And it was literally like a series of beautiful blessings, accidents, call it what you want, that one thing led to the next. And, and here I am. And that's why I think partially why I still feel like I was starting to say, I feel new to this industry, in that I've been doing this for give or take about 10 years now, which, I'm almost 60 years old, dude. So in certain respects, 10 years isn't much. I mean, I got a lot more life behind me than I do in front of me, predictably, And I think it's why I geek on it so much and have so much fun with it and get so excited daily. Yeah. It does. It still feels fresh all the time. It does.
Yeah.
Knowing that I was coming down here doing this today, we're going to go hang out with Magnaflow. Dennis is here before us. I'm going to this is, I don't know. I sometimes I swear I feel like the luckiest dude. I really do.
I think that's the great thing about the automotive culture, right, is that it's like you could be the billionaire in the room or the kid. And even in our little Porsche world, we have a kid that works for European Collectibles.
Yeah.
And he drives cars around, mechanics on them, whatever. But he hangs out and he's part of the group and he drives his like patina 912.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like he's hanging with the dudes with GT2 RSs.
Yeah.
Or the real speedsters.
Yeah.
It's just it's that camaraderie, right? And then it's that
you're one of us.
You're one of us. Yeah.
I think the car is the great equalizer, you know,
100%.
The passion for automotive. I mean, because it is the billionaires, you know, I know a few of them in the car world, and you wouldn't necessarily know it other than every time they show up with a different car.
Yeah.
And you go, hi, are you gonna ever run out of cars? Well, you know, we got a ways to go here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's those guys are the same as you, me, anyone else that's nutty about this hobby, you know.
It's the adrenaline from the speed. It's the way other people look at what you put together. It's the expression that your personalization made into that vehicle.
Yeah.
All those little elements, you know, those things are things that don't cost money at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
You personalizing the car you choose, the way people react to the car. And I think that's why you can go to a weekend car show and bring your current project in process and get just as many other car people go, dude, that's going to be something cool.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, to what you're experiencing with the Mustang, when you have a good idea, it's pretty amazing. I don't know if it's across other industries because I've lived and breathed the automotive industry, but there's something about that community and camaraderie where people jump in because they're like, oh, could you use this? And, oh, hey, I've done this before. Don't make that pitfall.
Yeah.
I think there's something about that you'll find at the automotive community where a perfect stranger, I've had people, because they've seen me on a TV show, invite me to a personal collection because they wanted to hear a decision about whether this exhaust was better than that exhaust.
Yeah.
But there's just something about...
They respect that opinion of like everything you've been involved with. And then I want to get his opinion on this.
Yeah, but
I want him to touch it.
It's kind of cool that they reach out, though, because I've seen other places where that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, in the car industry, if you're willing to go to a car show, someone wants to hear you.
The competitive racing industries, like, you know, different builders compete. Mine's better than yours.
Yeah.
Where what I've noticed in the hot rod world, like they're not so product based. They're more like designer artists, and they really appreciate what the other guy does.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's hard, like, you know, when I go to SEMA, obviously it's like I look at products that are there.
Sure.
Okay. That's interesting because we did that 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's a product, right, in a booth. It's cool when you get to step back and this hot rod world, I guess, call it like whatever we want to call the vehicles, right? There's hot rods and resto mods, whatever. But now I get to look at those as an enthusiast.
Yeah.
And I've always been a truck guy, and now I'm an enthusiast of cars.
Yeah.
And so now I have this whole different perspective at SEMA and that like giddy child feelings back in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exciting. And so I can see that in you as like, you know, you're like, oh, I'm new to this. Because, you know, you're on a road, on a tour bus and playing. Maybe you weren't quite on the tour bus.
We never made it to tour bus status, man. I drove the van because I didn't trust the numbnuts that I toured with. So I was the one that did all the driving most of the time. But it is exactly that, dude, is that in that space, I had some level of mastery, we'll say, right? Like you want to play guitar, I can do that. You want to talk music theory, I can do that. Recording, this, that. Like I committed my whole life to it and went deep into it. In the automotive space, I don't wrench, I don't design, I don't build, I don't do anything. I'm just an enthusiast.
Yeah,
I'm just a fan of it. So I can appreciate what, like I mentioned Troy Trepagny earlier, because I think of him as part of the old guard at this point, you know, still innovating and growing and being great, but he's part of the old guard. I can appreciate what he does just as much as like Ruffian, Chris, one of the newcomers to the industry, because my perspective's different, you know, and I'm just a fan of what they all do.
There's the guys that contribute and then the guys that kind of build and imitate, right? There's a difference.
Oh yeah.
Guy who contributes.
Oh yeah.
And that pops out. Those guys, and it's like an artist or it's like a pro athlete, right? There's a whole bunch of guys on the team, and then there's a few that stand out.
That's right.
It's the contributors that stand out.
Totally agree, dude.
Right.
And I was saying to Rich earlier, I think unfortunately at a certain level, the hot rod industry, in my opinion, has gotten a bit stale. Not across the board, because there's guys I'll point to that are still innovating. Like Mike Ring will still drive himself crazy trying to make a car great. Still one of the best paint and body guys in the world, 100%. I mean, in that same family, and he wouldn't think I'm talking smack at all. His brother Jim's over it. Jim's done. Jim's not into it anymore. I mean, he's still part of it, but Mike still is on his knees every day trying to make something great, still innovating. Too many of the builders, in my opinion, are copying what's been done, the tone that was set 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I'm not knocking those guys at all. No. Because they're still doing great stuff.
They're just making a buck.
It's another 69 Camaro that looks like another 69, another 69. And then, as a matter of fact, you look at the Ring brothers. What did they do with the 69 Camaro? They made the whole damn thing in carbon.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that car was a freak of nature, I thought, you know, for something that's been done so many times that nobody, in my opinion, should ever build a 69 Camaro again. You know, just
but they reinvented it
so many ways.
Yeah.
They reinvented it. They didn't, you know, and that's, keep coming back to Ruffy and Chris, man. What that guy's doing, dude, he's going to hurt some feelings with some of this stuff he's coming up with right now.
And it's funny too, because inside of some of the other vehicles he's currently working on is, you know, he's got that Plymouth that's there, and it's a Trans Am chassis. I mean, to your point of form following function, he's taking a vetted race car and wrapping a 1930s open wheel, although he's putting some beautiful fenders in that.
They're all carbon, all done in-house.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's the little details that pay homage to the original design, like his, did you see the fan on the back of that thing? The spare tire carrier. You know how a lot of those classic cars have the original wheel exposed, but he turned that into I think it was I don't know if it was carbon fiber or it was a forged carbon fiber vented radiator shroud with the fan being the spokes of the wheel. Like, just,
so that's what vents the engine. That's where he's getting his cooling from. But it looks like the center of the wheel.
Yeah. You can't tell from a distance that's what it is. So he loses the race car component, hides it within a feature of the original 30s car. Yeah. And, you know, it's a front engine, albeit a V10 Viper motor, shoved into that chassis. Yeah. And then all the cooling has to be put behind it because there's no radiator.
There's no room up front, man.
That's wild. And that's like his idea of, oh, well, no, that's just going to be my build. I'm like, do you understand these are the challenges? And he's like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. But that's what I love is that level of innovation, you know, because
he understands how it all works.
Yeah. Because he does. He figures it out.
Yeah.
He figures it out. And he's not limited by.
It hasn't been done.
Like walk through the Amber section at Grand National Roadster Show. Again, not against any of these guys, man. It doesn't. For the most part, it doesn't personally get me excited because I've seen those cars. They kind of look like the same cars I saw when I was a little kid, you know, when my dad would take me to hot rod shows. And it's like at some point, somebody's got to break all the rules. So Chris is doing a 35 Plymouth, which would be very easy to do in the traditional hot rod stance and status and look like another Amber car. And this car couldn't be further from it. I mean, this car couldn't be further from an Amber styled car. It's a total freak of nature, man. Yeah. You watch what happens at SEMA this year. Cause I talked to my friends at C-Tech. I'm super tight with the C-Tech guys, you know, and they were down to 2 cars, either Chris's car or another car. That's a friend of mine too, a builder friend of mine. And the car he's building is really an extraordinary car. And I couldn't help but tell them, look, here's the truth. In my opinion, like everyone, right? We all got an opinion. In my opinion, that's going to be one of those cars that everyone's going to be going, dude, you got to go to the C-Tech booth and see this crazy Plymouth. And that's what you want, right? As a vendor, you want to bring people to your booth. And this car is going to attract people because it's going to be such a freak of nature, you know? And that's that's why I'm so excited about him, because it's been missing from our industry for a while, and it wasn't just not that long ago. Think of Foose, man. Think of the stuff, and I know he's still doing great stuff, but when Foose first came out, I was like, you're doing what?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Ring Brothers first came out, you're going to put 19s on a 67 Mustang? You can't do that.
Yeah.
But they did that with Reactor.
And they made it work.
I think what's tough though, right, is like guys like start a shop or they build their own car on a budget, and then they have customers, so they got to stick within budget.
You got it.
Then you get guys with some freedom, or it's their own stuff with budget behind them, and then they get to be really innovative. I couldn't imagine Jason Campbell building some kind of hot rod. Like the level of it'd be an F1 car, but it would look old. Like it would be literally that bonkers.
Yeah.
He'd just build his own.
That's what he wants out of his Toyota, right?
Yeah, he's probably going to do that.
Yeah, you're gonna have the most over-engineered, over-constructed.
What he's doing is going back to the trucks we had when we started Camberg and over-engineering and doing some crazy build. He doesn't even talk to me about it.
Of course.
But he bought it. It's like a 1992 wheel drive Toyota truck. And that's what we both, he had an 88 and I had a 90. But it's that two-wheel drive little Toyota truck with an extra cab that he's going to go just bonkers on. And he'll say, oh, I'm going to keep it basic. No. And I always look at it going like, you talk about certain things, but it's just nostalgic for him. It's cool for him. It's where we started.
Yeah.
But he's going to, and we've built kits over the years. We've built, like one or two full-blown race kits that bolt in a stock location and do their thing. And that's probably what he's going to do. But on
Jason's not going to do stock.
Well, the stock frame.
Yeah.
It goes to the stock frame.
Yeah.
But so this subject brings me to a question. And I always ask people this question, but I want to hear, since you've done 800 or over 800 vehicles, what are your top 3 to 5 favorite vehicles? I already know the one you didn't like the most. but
car sure looked good, man.
Before or after?
Yeah.
And we'll save that one for last.
Yeah. The one that always comes to mind for me, partially because I'm so married to the car through my friend Chris, is Vicious Mustang.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
It's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
I think it's arguably, I would put it up in one of the probably top 3 or 4 most famous Mustangs ever.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't deny the Unicorn, that watching Ken drive that car the way he did, plus the freakish look of it.
But it was a race car.
Eleanor.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's what Chris is, what Jason at Timeless did. I mean, it's really his swan song. It's his Mona Lisa. It's possibly the greatest car he'll ever create in his career, because he had an owner that kept saying, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
Sure, go for it. And Chris never even asked how much it cost. Chris just kept saying, go for it. Let's do a sequential, paddle shift it. Yeah, sounds good. Let's not only supercharge it, let's put twin turbos on it. Yeah, sounds good. Go for it. Just on and on. There was no from Chris. So that's definitely one of my tops. I got to throw Chris Ashton's, even though he's gone deeper with some of the other cars he's done. That first Mustang he did, it's such a competent, great car. The big fat tires up front, the idea that he copied from Trans Am Racing, and he sloped the front nose and pie cut it by himself,
Wow.
Never having done something like that. That car really stands out to me as a great one. And when you drive it, even still to this day, there's no tricks to it. He doesn't tell you not to do anything. It's like, get in, flip the couple switches, hit the button, and go beat the piss out of it. It'll take a beating and it'll just keep running. That's a phenomenal car to me. We shot one recently that in the world of trucks really hit me hard was, do you know this LS3 Vel Garage, Robert? So Robert's a guy out of his backyard, kind of got known for doing LS swaps for people. And he has this, everyone will laugh, my Spanish is the worst ever, but he has this truck. He's done his 3rd version of this truck called Jarritos C10.
Okay.
And it's a patinaed orange truck. He made it right-hand drive, which I thought was a pretty cool concept, just because why not?
Yeah.
Right? Kept it manual, Nelson motor in it, he dialed it to 1300 at the tires.
Wow.
And he's got a dial where you can go from 900 up to 1300. Speed Tech torque arm chassis, which boy, oh boy, is that an impressive one, because no matter how hard you're beating on it, the thing just tracks dead nuts straight. Everything about it, because usually when we shoot something, when it's a really good vehicle, I'll only find like 2 or 3 things that bother me. Like, I wish the shifter was closer. I wish your ergonomics were a little better. This, that, da-da-da-da-da. That's one of those trucks where I was like, dude, I got nothing to say except for this is just perfection, you know? Yeah, I mean, it's so funny, dude. I start talking about it and then I go, well, then there's them Roadster Shop boys, and that Grand National kind of flipped me out when.
Yeah, that thing was.
I'd never driven a car with lightning rods before. Grabbing lightning rods, I thought was the coolest thing ever. And then when Jeremy took me for a ride, and I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd pull he did, the burnouts started happening at about 80 or 90 miles an hour, and he just started blowing the tires off. And he looked over me, he's like, yeah, that pull, I think we went many miles per hour. Like, yeah, we did. You know, that car was freakish how far they went on that with so many elements of it. It's hard, dude, because then I swear my brain starts spinning. I go, well, then there's some of those strobe cars we've gotten into. That Black Ops Fairlane was a freak show car with the brake attached to the wing, you know.
It's just everybody's got their little touches that make the perfections that they've created better. Yeah. But the ones you've all mentioned all have been the continuity, I think, is the big part, right? Yeah. Like they just worked. All the options they picked, they fit a theme, and then that theme was carried out. Yeah. Because, I mean, you'll find a lot of that. And we were talking about earlier, the kind of copycat culture or the imitation culture. They'll take 5 parts. And there was a couple, I think I saw at SEMA in the last few years where they just took pieces of the best of show cars and threw them together on a car, and it just didn't work out. Like you put too much of something into it. Like there's such a thing as too much front splitter, too much rear splitter, 100%. You know, too much wing. And then 100%. You did it to what on the body?
Yeah, I think what it is you have enthusiasts with money and they want to build something. And so they get inspired by all the stuff. Obviously there's people in business or, you know, products, but as builders, they're not really the artist. They're just someone who can do it and they have the means to do it. So then they build what they think is their expression. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And not everyone is a really good artist. I mean,
it's just the truth, man. It's the truth. And I think a great build, you don't miss anything. A really good build, you can miss a couple points. Like maybe the color wasn't the best choice or whatever, but it's still a really good car. You miss on 5, 6, 7 points. Yeah. Maybe call it a donor car and take it back in the garage and cut it apart because you just flat out. And look, I ain't knocking it, dude. You know, everybody's got their intent and their.
It's not about the knock. It's just it's like in the off-road truck world too, right? It's the same thing. There's dudes that'll just start drawing in CAD. It looks cool on their little renderings. Right. The people who know go, well, that radius can't even bend it. Right. But they're drawing in CAD. They're selling something. Yeah. Then they try to go build this thing, and then it's like, okay, you know, 8 years later, did it ever get done? And I forgot all about that one, right? And then there's the guys that actually sort of get it done. But it never does anything. But then there's the guys that get it done. And in the hot rod world, you're not really like building the whole thing. You're kind of taking something that's there and you're buying parts, and then they put their little twist of how it's going to look because they like the front splitter. We talked, there's a guy, front splitter is way too big. I bet you if you put it in a wind tunnel, it's just like, that was way off. But it looks cool to him.
Yeah, sure. I have I think my perspective too, you know, having shot over 800 cars at this point.
Well, you've been in
most of them are custom cars, right? I've probably driven more custom cars than most anybody. Just about anyone. Probably not everyone, but just about anyone, you know. Even when you look at like automotive reviewers, they're mostly doing OE stuff, right? I'm literally driving customs all the time. People are kind enough to almost always say yes. I mean, I always tell them, look, it's easier if I drive for the roller shots because it is. I know how to operate with our camera car. We don't even have to talk to each other on the radio. We know what we're doing, you know. Every once in a while, I don't ask, you know, to drive. There's certain cars like that red car with the blower. That day I didn't ask to drive that car, and thank God I didn't ask to drive that car. And there's been a few like that, you know, but I've driven so many of these, man. So my perspective's different. I can't help actually, but be a little nitpicky about things, because you get in some of these and you're like, God, the ergonomics are so perfect. I just want to sit in here and drive all day.
Yeah.
And there's some where you're like, bro, do you want to see anything going on around you? Because I noticed you got no side view mirrors. Your rear view mirror is a little friggin' quarter up there. And, you know, I get that it's going to screw up your interior, but it kind of sucks to not have belts in here, you know, and on and on and on and on it goes, you know, where like a great car to me, you just get in and you go, oh, forget about the cameras, dude. Let's just bail and drive this thing all day because it's so damn good, you know? I look forward to like what we got coming up. I mean, we got cars on deck to shoot. Dude, I've been waiting 8 years to shoot this car, and I'm shooting it on Monday. I'm shooting Strope's Martini Mustang.
Oh, dude, that car. We had Strope in here not a couple weeks ago.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's such a kook. I love him.
That Mustang, when you pop the hood, for the person who doesn't know what that ITB setup looks like, and they're scratching their head looking at the absence of the intake manifold and the traditional look, and you're just like,
yeah.
It's bonkers. And the only reason we never got to shoot the car was it lived in Texas forever with the old owner, Carl, you know, and it was bought recently by a guy that lives in the Valley.
Okay.
And Strope called me up. He's like, dude, Martini's back. When are we shooting it?
Yeah.
Then the guy had engine problems with it. So everything got torn apart. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. All things go well, we're shooting that car Monday morning, 10 a.m. I've been literally waiting 8 years to shoot this car, man. And I can't wait. And I hope the guy lets me drive it. I hope he lets me drive it.
That's the fun part. I'm sure you'll get to drive it.
yeah,
I think so.
That thing wails too. So I hope you drive it hard.
I'm dying to just to. And Steve said the guy, like, he's enjoying the hell out of it.
That's awesome.
He's beating on the car, apparently. Which is what it was meant to do. I mean, you figure it's a friggin' IndyCar motor. I think it was meant to take a beating. You know, it's like
they like to spin.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting component too, that when you have like a builder like Steve, who's like, I will mix anything and everything as long as it feels right in the end. And that motor in that car was one of those things where it's like, what? Really? How?
Yeah.
And then when you saw the final execution down to the theme carried out through the livery, it just, it made sense.
Yeah. That's what I love about Steve so much is Steve always, I know him really well. You know, him and I have become good pals through the years.
I think Jerry's his official BMX pal now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's a geek for that work.
Well, here's the funny thing is, you know, we always talk about how everyone got their start in the automotive culture. And it's usually, you know, with the broom. You get a broom and you start sweeping up someone's shop at 16 or 15.
Yeah.
Well, he brought it to the BMX bike and I'm like, bro, you're right. Like, it is totally the BMX bike.
Yeah.
Like, we had the BMX bike in middle school and high school that we would take apart and paint and customize and chrome and bill apart. And like, it's totally because of that was the first thing we customized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then skateboards were one of those things you know, I'll take those trucks, those wheels, you know, and then that you grow up and get a car and then it's the car. Yeah. Right. So,
Steve and I connected. It's funny, man. When I
musician as well.
That's what we connected on. You know that? Because he's driving through the parking lot of our complex. He had just picked up the Anvil Mustang after it had been over in Europe for Fast and Furious. So he's driving it through our complex and just picked it up from Dennis. He's rolling through. I'm brand new at the time. I mean, I'm brand new to this world. And I'm running, chasing him through the parking lot. My brilliant mind comes up with, hey, man, you're Steve Strope. And he looks at me as he keeps rolling. He goes, I know. And he keeps driving.
That's the answer.
I couldn't come up with something better than that.
For sure. See coming out of him.
So then I start calling him all the time, you know, and I'm going up to his shop. And one time he finally asked me, he's like, bro, is there something like, are you trying to sell me something or what? Or I was like, nah, man, I just really dig what you do. And I'm new to this world. And so he kept kind of, Steve, if you're watching, you're probably not. But if you are, you were kind of a dick the first time I met you. Let's be honest about it. Which him and I joke about it all the time. He goes, no, I wasn't. Like, you kind of were. So where we connected, though, I had given him one of the last CD I made when CDs were still relevant, right? With my band Stone Honey. And we had cut this whole, we were so proud of it. You would open it up and there was a shot of us in the studio, the way we recorded it. We cut this whole thing live in the studio. The only overdub was we had a B3 player come in while we were on tour, laid down some organ parts. And so Steve calls me up during the SEMA crunch on, I can't remember which car he was on. And he goes, hey man, we're listening to your music. And he said, I'm looking at your CD. He said, you guys didn't record this live. I was like, bro, what you hear is what you get. That's what that band sounded like on a good night, you know? And well, I was a musician all of a sudden. Now I'm like, yeah, we might hang out at this point. And that's where we started to become friends, was now he understood why I didn't, as he used to always say, you really don't know shit about cars, do you? Like, no, I don't, dude. But I know this world, and that's where we hit it off, because he realized at that point, like, oh, you really committed your life deeply to music, which gives me the understanding of why you know nothing about cars, and
but such a Steve thought process. And
it is. But he's been great with me,
he's
Steve,
awesome.
Steve, like, because I would call him up from time to time, and like I remember one time I was like, hey, bro, do you have any cars that have a 4-link in them? Yeah, I got one up on the lift right now. I was like, cool, I'm on my way. I'll see you in about a half hour. My shop's pretty close to his. He's like, why? Don't worry about it. I'll see you in a minute. And I get up there. I was like, bro, people are always talking in these interviews how their car has a 4-link. And I always go, oh, yeah, cool. And I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Can you show me why they call it a 4? He points it out, and it's like, but he's taught me a lot of things about cars.
But he's that guy. Like, he's once you've broken through his initial barrier,
he's a sweetheart, man.
He'll do anything with you. He'll show you what goes on. He'll go into the details of why, like in his thought process, he designs the way he does. He's
a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I like that. What made me bring Steve up was the idea that he's one of those guys that he told me a long time ago. Every car, he always comes up with a what if. And Martini was, what if Martini, instead of going with Porsche, obviously went with Ford, what would they have built? And that's the car they would have built to go racing. And I thought, the idea that he carried that all the way through, he didn't shortcut anywhere because some part company was willing to give him an engine or whatever. It's like, it had to stay true to that theme. That's a cool commitment to me. He's actually one of the guys that is a true, as bonkers as he is, it makes sense. He's a total pure artist. He really is an artist, Yeah. I love that guy. He's a good dude, man. Yeah.
Fun times.
Well, cool.
So obviously you got a lot going on. We can follow you out on AutotopiaLA on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
What are your other socials so people kind of keep track of all the things that you got going on?
Across the board, it's just AutotopiaLA.
Nice.
I don't do any. Yeah, I don't do any personal stuff on social media. I don't knock anyone that does, but it always seemed a little odd to me personally. I'm like, my what I have for lunch. Gives a shit. It's what I'm having for lunch, who I'm having lunch. It really, like, people have to remind me sometimes, like, dude, take a picture of some of the things you're doing, I do that for myself if I can remember to do it. But I've decided to keep, I just wanted the social media thing to stay just pure business for me. And it is. So it's easy to find AutotopiaLA. We're out there.
And how many times do you post to the channel?
We do two long form videos on YouTube per week. So every Tuesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Every once in a while we miss, but we're pretty bulletproof about staying consistent on that. We started the podcast recently. We had to start a second channel for that. So it's AutotopiaLA podcast channel on YouTube or Spotify, Apple. And we're brand new to that, and God, I love doing it. It's so fun. Plus, there's zero risk to it other than you might look like a moron, but I don't have to worry about like a car blowing up or crashing or something like that. Yeah, for sure. And
there's a delete button.
Yeah, what's that?
And you do have a delete button if case.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man, that one didn't work. Edit that part out, brother. But yeah, that's it. Just AutotopiaLA. Find us. We're out there, doing our thing. Yeah.
Well, keep doing the thing. We're appreciating all that content. You're bringing so many cars to the table, and that's what we're all looking for, is the cool and interesting things that are happening inside the industry. So thank you again for being here today.
Yeah, for sure.
definitely going to be following AutotopiaLA. You can find me at Oxidizer, OXIDIZR, on Instagram.
Jerry Zaiden on all social channels. And then for the show on YouTube, it's at magnaflow TV, and Instagram is at magnaflow. This has been the MF Show.
And one thing, actually, I know before, I'm sorry, you already said goodbye and we're done, but it really hit me, dude, to not thank you guys for coming on our Fox body build with Chris and the Ruffian team. You know, that car's going to be running not just bonkers exhaust, but it is magnaflow. And just thank you, dude. After all these years of knowing you, that you were not only a yes, but yes all the way. And I love that you're going to be on our car, man.
I bought into that project even before Ruffian was there, simply because of your attitude towards it. It was kind of funny because you find a lot of projects are just that. It's these people, these things. We didn't know any of your partners.
Yeah.
But the way you described the project as being your project and what you wanted it to be, it was pretty easy to tell you were going to find the means to make it something great.
Yeah.
You made it easy.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, dude.
I just can't wait to see that thing.
Oh, man. You're telling me, brother.
You get to look at it. I haven't seen it at all.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, man.